Canada's Wonderland has some of the most iconic rides in the world. They've also had to remove many attractions to make way for these rides. Today, we're going to be taking a nostalgic journey and reminisce 10 rides/attractions that were removed. Starting off the list, we have Extreme Skyflyer. This was a sky coaster located near the front area of the park. It was in Grand World Expo, however, it wasn't themed to a country. This ride opened in 1996 and was manufactured by SkyFun. It was an upcharge attraction and debatably the most scariest ride at the park. I think we can all agree on that, as it was basically like bungee jumping. It was removed to make way for Alpine Fury, a Premier Rides dual launch coaster which is set to open this year. Taking a look at the plot of land right beside Extreme Skyflyer's old plot of land is where a Vekoma SLC by the name of Flight Deck sits. This plot of land used to be the home of an aerodynamics log flume themed to Africa named Zumba Flume. Zumba Flume opened with the park in 1981, but in 1994, people did not know that they would have their last rides on Zumba Flume, as Paramount, the new owners of the park, decided to remove it to make way for Top Gun. Top Gun was a movie-themed inverted coaster by Vekoma. In 2007, Top Gun was renamed to Flight Deck, which is its current name. This occurred due to Cedar Fair buying out Paramount Parks, and they couldn't keep the copyright for Top Gun the movie. But back to Zumba Flume. Zumba Flume was an iconic log flume at the park. It had a rotating station similar to how Whitewater Canyon has its rotating station. It was built by Aerodynamics, which I already mentioned, and it was pretty popular. It had amazing African theming that Taft had done to make it fit into World Expo. Soon, with the addition of Whitewater Canyon and Timberwolf Falls, Zumba Flume's ridership decreased significantly, leading in Paramount deciding that that was the perfect spot for Top Gun. Now next to Zumba Flume was where two flat rides sat. Starting off, we have Shiva's Fury. This was an Indian themed ride, which many people had nicknamed the Octopus. It was a polyp ride made by the now defunct Airlie Aircraft Company. When this ride was removed in 2003, it was taken to Kings Island and used for spare parts for a similar ride over there. Shiva's Fury was a classic 1981 ride at Canada's Wonderland. Many people loved this ride and were sad to see it go. Right beside Shiva's Fury was a Chinese-themed boat ride also opening in 1981. The Great Wheel of China was a mock ride sea storm ride. This ride closed in 2003 with Shiva's Fury, and it was relocated to Carowinds in the Carolinas. This ride now operates as Peanuts Pirates in Planet Snoopy at Carowinds. Shiva's Fury and the Great Wheel of China were removed in 2003 together to make way for Tomb Raider the Ride, which is now known as Time Warp. Time Warp is a Zamperla Volaire, which nobody likes at the park. Recently, it's rumored to be removed. I'ma be honest, I kinda prayed for days like these. Anyways, let's kinda take our head off World Expo, but don't you kinda see the pattern? Paramount removed amazing country-themed rides for rides that give pain to riders and have no theming at all. Heading up a little bit upwards, we have Skyrider. Skyrider was a stand-up coaster made by the now defunct Togo coaster manufacturer. Skyrider opened in 1985 and closed down in 2014. The reason Skyrider closed was because incidents happened with other rides of the same type at other parks. So before something were to happen to Skyrider, Wonderland decided it was best to remove it. The coaster manufacturer, Togo, was also defunct, so maintenance would have been really difficult. Many people loved Skyrider and they still miss it till this day. It was not a suitable ride for men due to the bicycle seat. Eventually, Skyrider was replaced by Yukon Striker, a record-breaking B&M dive coaster in 2019. The remaining space that Yukon didn't really occupy was given home to Tundra Twister, which opened in 2023. Wonderland did an amazing job at utilizing the most out of this space. And I personally love how Yukon Striker pays tribute to Skyrider with the colors, the loop, the second drop, and the airtime hill before the helix. When Wonderland added Yukon Striker, they also added a new themed area known as Frontier Canada. And in Frontier Canada lays another ride removal. This one is called Launchpad. Launchpad, to my knowledge, was an upcharge attraction. It featured 6 trampolines, and what riders would do is strap themselves into a rope attached to a support on the top, and they would basically just jump on the trampoline and it would feel like zero gravity. Launchpad was removed in 2017 to make way for a new ride. In 2018, Flying Canoes opened. Personally, I think Flying Canoes is the perfect addition for Frontier Canada. It's more of so a family/kiddie ride, and riders get to control their gondolas whether they go up or down. Now before we go to our removals on the east side of the park, let's hit the water park. Splashworks used to have a teal colored water slide similar to Whirlwinds today, and it was called Body Blast. I think Body Blast had riders just by themselves without a tube, but I could be wrong. There aren't really much pictures out there. Body Blast opened in 1992 and was removed in 2016 to make way for Muskoka Plunge. Do you remember this iconic water slide? Now let's move on to the east side of the park. Let's start in Alpin, the new area for 2025, aka this year. So many of you may know Clockworks. Clockworks used to be where Shockwave is today, and it was called Clockworker. The area where Clockworks sits in now used to be a Bayern Curve ride by the name of Bayern Curve. Yeah, Wonderland named a ride after its model. And just like most rides I'm covering today, Bayern Curve opened with the park in 1981. It was removed in 2000 because Clockworks was being shifted. Shockwave was announced to go in Clockworks' plot of land, and they moved Clockworks over to Bayern Curve's plot of land. Bayern Curve was shipped to King's Dominion, which it still sits in today in storage. But yeah, this ride was a circular flat ride, a coaster flat ride. Like it was like a coaster, but it was a flat ride. It had 16 cars, all themed to different Olympic countries. Canada was the first one, and when the train reached its maximum speed, the giant horn would blast. Whoever made the decision to remove this iconic ride, count your days. Bayern Curve was a loved ride and had lots of ridership. Meanwhile for Shockwave, I love Shockwave, it's my favorite flat ride at the park, but it could have gone elsewhere. Like, what if you just put it where Skyhawk is today, or where Lazy Bear is, because both of those places were empty. Since Baron Curve is at storage at King's Dominion, I really hope it returns to Wonderland, because there's no point in keeping it in storage when it could be running and entertaining guests at Wonderland like it used to. However, I believe that is very unlikely. Heading on a little bit west of Baron Curve, we had another upcharge attraction, which was Pro Putt. Pro Putt was a mini golf course operating where Soaring Timbers and partly Lumberjack operate today. Pro Putt operated from 1993 to 2016. Unfortunately, there's less media out there about this attraction, so that's all you're gonna hear from me about it. But now let's head on to our final removal for today. This attraction sat in Hanna-Barbera Land, which is now Planet Snoopy, and I guess it partially still stands. And it was Barney's Burgers. Barney's Burgers was a small restaurant operating in the Hanna-Barbera Land area of the park. It was themed to the Flintstones character Barney. No, not Barney the dinosaur. The Flintstones character Barney. The owners of the park at the time, Paramount Canada, decided to remove it to make way for Pizza Pizza, a restaurant that would be more well perceived. Barney's Burgers was known for the iconic car-themed benches outside its restaurant. Many people who I know who have been to the park in the 80s and the 90s often say that Barney's Burgers was where they had the best burger of their life. The Pizza Pizza that replaced it still stands today, but you can see a grim reminder of what once was, as the building still has the same sort of design that Barney's Burgers had. Anyways, that's all for today's video. If you guys liked it, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. See you guys in my next video.